Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to embark on a two-nation visit to UK and Maldives beginning Wednesday. Plethora of meetings with various stakeholders on the cards during the four-day tour. Students protest in Bangladesh after the Air Force jet crash kills 31, mostly children, 165 under treatment, several still in critical condition. US to leave UN cultural agency UNESCO again under Trump's presidency, citing anti-Israel bias and support for divisive cultural agendas. And fast bowler Akashdeep ruled out of the fourth test against England in Manchester starting Wednesday. India captain Shubman Gill accuses England of ignoring spirit of the game in the third test at Lord's. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will pay an official visit to the United Kingdom from 23rd and 24th of July at the invitation of UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. In a press conference by the Ministry of External Affairs, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri said that during his visit, Prime Minister will hold wide-ranging discussions with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer on India-UK bilateral ties.
The Prime Minister will be embarking on an official visit to the United Kingdom tomorrow, the 23rd of July, for discussions during the visit with the Right Honourable Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. And during the visit, he will also call on His Majesty King Charles III. There is also during the visit, interaction that is planned with business leaders both from India and the United Kingdom. This will be Prime Minister's fourth visit to the United Kingdom since assuming office. He has visited previously in 2015 and 2018, and he was there in 2021 for the COP26 summit in Glasgow.
On India-UK trade relations, Foreign Secretary highlighted that UK is the sixth largest investor in India with cumulative investment of $36 billion. Additionally, India's foreign direct investment in the UK is close to $20 billion.
Recently opened a campus in Gurugram just last week, actually. And this is the first foreign university to open a campus in India under the new education policy. Just for your information, there are several other UK universities, apart from universities in other countries, several other UK universities that are also considering opening campuses in India under the same policy. The UK is also the sixth largest investor in India with a cumulative investment of $36 billion. And interestingly, India itself is a large source of foreign direct investment in the UK with a cumulative investment of close to $20 billion. There are close to 1,000 Indian companies in the UK that provide employment to nearly 100,000 people.
In the second leg of his visit, Prime Minister Modi will visit Maldives from July 25th to 26th. Speaking on India-Maldives trade, the Foreign Secretary said that India is one of the largest trading partners of Maldives with $500 million in bilateral trade.
India is one of the largest trading partners of the Maldives. Bilateral trade is nearly $500 million. And India continues to be, Indian investors remain part of sectors such as tourism in the Maldives and other economic activities. On the economic front, one recent development which I would like to share with you is that Both countries are in discussions to negotiate a free trade agreement and an investment treaty as well. And new areas of cooperation, including renewable energy, fisheries, etc., are also being worked on.
In a move to ensure safety, Air India on Tuesday has finished inspections of the fuel control switch locking mechanism on all its Boeing 787 and Boeing 737 aircraft. The directive came on July 14th from India's aviation regulator, Directorate General of Civil Aviation. Boeing 737 aircraft are operated by its low-cost subsidiary, Air India Express. The airline had already begun voluntary checks on July 12th, even before the order, and completed all inspections within the DGCA's timeline. No issues were detected in the locking mechanisms during the inspections. In a statement, Air India reaffirmed its commitment to the safety of passengers and crew and confirmed that the findings have been shared with the regulator. With this, both Air India and Air India Express are now fully compliant with the DGCA directive. Another scare for Air India passengers came in Delhi. Yet another Air India flight incident was reported at the Delhi airport. Flight AI 315 from Hong Kong landed safely on Tuesday and taxied to the gate. But soon after parking, a fire broke out in the aircraft's auxiliary power unit, and a probe was ordered and safety questioned. The fire started just as passengers had begun disembarking. Thankfully, the aircraft's safety systems kicked in and the APU automatically shut down. Fire crews rushed to the spot and all passengers and crew were safely evacuated. There were no injuries reported in the incident. The aircraft, however, did suffer some damage, and Air India is assessing the extent. So this is the latest in a series of technical snags reported on Air India flights in recent months, raising fresh questions over safety checks. Updates next on the Bangladesh plane crash. National mourning turned to anger in Bangladesh on Tuesday as the death toll from a fighter jet crash into a school in Dhaka jumped to 31, sparking protests by hundreds of students against the interim government in a country gripped by instability. The death toll into the Milestone School and College campus in Dhaka has risen to 31, while the number of injured stands at 165. The Inter-Services Public Relations Directorate disclosed this in a press release today. The F-7 BGI aircraft of Bangladesh Air Force took off for a training flight and crashed shortly after into Milestone School and College campus on Monday afternoon. Amid a day of state mourning in Bangladesh, the country's flag was at half-mast today. Special prayers were held at all places of worship.
Among those admitted to this hospital, several are in intensive care unit and a few are on ventilators while some are not. Even among those in the high dependency unit, the conditions of some patients are critical. So we are going through a very difficult time as a nation. We ask everyone to keep us in their prayers.
Now, a trilateral meeting between Iran, Russia and China will take place today to discuss Tehran's nuclear program and the United Nations snapback mechanism. The snapback is a rule within the 2015 nuclear deal that allows participating countries to trigger a UN Security Council process that could automatically reimpose broad sanctions on the Islamic Republic if it's deemed to be violating the agreement. The meeting will take place in Tehran at the level of Foreign Ministry Director Generals. Britain, France and Germany have warned that they would use the mechanism, which would reimpose international sanctions on Iran if there was no progress on nuclear talks by the month of August. Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister said that there were currently no plans to resume nuclear talks with the United States, with whom Tehran held 5 rounds of indirect negotiations prior to Israel's strikes on Iran last month. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Ismail Baghei will hold nuclear talks with the E3 and EU diplomats on Friday in Istanbul. He added that Tehran would also seek answers because the countries did not condemn the Israeli and US strikes. Meanwhile, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said that Iran has no plans to abandon its nuclear program, including uranium enrichment, despite severe damage to its facilities after US strikes last month. He stressed that any future nuclear deal would have to contain the right to enrichment. Regarding negotiations with the US to de-escalate regional tensions, Arakchi said Iran is open to talks, but not direct for the time being.
It is now stopped because, yes, damages are serious and severe, but obviously we cannot give up our enrichment because it is an achievement of our own scientists, and now more than that, it is a question of national pride. If they are coming for a win-win solution, I am ready to engage with them. I mean that we are ready to do any confidence-building measure needed to prove that Iran's nuclear program is peaceful and would remain peaceful forever, and Iran would never go for nuclear weapons. And in return, we expect them to lift their sanctions. This is a win-win game, and we are ready to engage in that.
Meanwhile, Tehran blamed European powers for the failure of the 2015 nuclear deal, accusing them of breaking their commitments, which lifted sanctions on Iran in return for its restrictions on its nuclear program.
The European parties have been at fault both due to negligence and failure to fulfill their obligations under the JCPOA.
Now, on to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Both parties, Russia and Ukraine, will hold new peace talks on Wednesday. This was announced by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky as a follow-up to the 2 rounds in Istanbul that made little progress on ending their conflict. Zelensky said in his daily address on Monday that he had discussed with Rustem Umerov the preparation for a prisoner exchange and another meeting with the Russian side in Turkey. Earlier, Ukraine and Russia have held 2 rounds of talks in Istanbul that led to the exchange of thousands of prisoners of war and the remains of dead soldiers.
I discussed with Rustem Umerov the preparation for a prisoner exchange and another meeting with the Russian side in Turkey. Umerov reported that the meeting is planned for Wednesday. More details will follow tomorrow.
Завтра буде більше деталей.
Meanwhile, Kremlin said on Tuesday that there was no basis to expect miracles from a proposed 3rd round of direct Russian and Ukrainian peace talks. Kremlin has declined to give any time frame for a potential agreement to end the war. He said that the issue of the Ukrainian settlement is very complicated.
There is no reason to expect any breakthroughs in the category of miracles. It is hardly possible in the current situation. We intend to pursue our interests. We intend to ensure our interests and fulfill the task we set for ourselves from the very beginning.
The United States on Tuesday announced plans to withdraw from the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. The decision was based on what it called the agency's anti-Israel bias and support for divisive cultural agendas. This marks the 3rd time the US will exit UNESCO and the 2nd under former President Donald Trump. The United States provides about 8% of UNESCO's total budget, down from about 20% at the time Trump first pulled the United States off the global UN agency. You're watching DD India Live, still to come on the show. India receives first batch of United States Apache helicopters. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh calls it a proud moment for the Indian Army. Some industries face mortal risks from Trump tariffs, says French Trade Minister.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I am Tanvi Taneja. In a big boost to India's battlefield supremacy, the Indian Army inducted the first batch of 3 AH-64A Apache attack helicopters, marking a historic leap in the firepower of the Army Aviation Corps. The induction of Apaches comes days after high-level defense talks between Indian Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and US Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth.
The arrival of 3 advanced Apache Guardians, out of a total of 6 ordered, marks the beginning of a new era of precision strike capabilities and tactical dominance for the Indian Army. Some of the features of Apache A64EA are that it is twin-engine attack helicopter equipped with 30mm chain gun, has AGM-114 Hellfire missiles, Hydra 70 rockets, and air-to-air Stinger missiles. These Apaches will be deployed primarily along the western border, significantly boosting India's offensive and defensive posture against cross-border threats. Integrated into the Army's modernization push, the helicopters will operate alongside HAL's Rudra and Dhruv platforms, giving the Army Aviation Corps a formidable triad of mobility, firepower, and adaptability. The induction of Apaches comes days after high-level defense talks between Indian Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and US Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. On July 1st, the two leaders reaffirmed India's right to deter cross-border terror threats and reviewed progress on major US defense deals, including the Apache program. The Apache AH-64E, also called the Guardian, is not just an attack helicopter. It's an airborne command post, a hunter-killer system, and a deterrent all rolled into one. Its radar system allows it to track 128 targets at once, prioritize threats, and strike with pinpoint accuracy, even in zero visibility, making it a flying tank hunter and a guardian angel for Indian ground forces. With the arrival of these combat birds, India sends a clear message. Its guardians of the skies are ready, capable, and watching. The Army Aviation Corps is evolving, and the Apache is leading the charge. Akshay Dongre's report for DD India.
The monsoon session of India's Parliament on Tuesday faced disruptions as opposition protested the voter roll revision in Bihar. Both the houses were adjourned for the day amid protests by the opposition members who raised slogans and waved placards on various issues. Meanwhile, Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju slammed the opposition for what he called double standards.
सदन को इस तरीके से डिस्टर्ब करना ये तो बहुत आपत्तिजनक है और वो चर्चा मांग रहे हैं हम चर्चा के लिए तैयार हैं फिर ये सदन चलने नहीं देते हैं ये डबल स्टैंडर्ड बिल्कुल गलत बात है चर्चा चाहते हैं तो ये हंगामा मत करो सरकार ने बार-बार कहा है कि हम चर्चा करना चाहते हैं फिर ये हंगामा क्यों कर रहे हैं कौन जिम्मेदार लेगा देश का करोड़ों टैक्स मनी को आप लोग हंगामा करके बर्बाद कर रहे हैं जवाब देना पड़ेगा.
The Rajya Sabha on Tuesday was informed about the matter of the resignation of Jagdeep Dhankar as Vice President of India. The presiding officer, Ghanshyam Tiwari, informed the House that the Ministry of Home Affairs has conveyed the resignation of Vice President of India, Jagdeep Dhankar, under Article 67A of the Constitution with immediate effect. Prime Minister Narendra Modi wished Jagdeep Dhankar good health. In a post on X, the Prime Minister said that Jagdeep Dhankar has got many opportunities to serve our country in various capacities, including as the Vice President of India. Earlier on Monday, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar resigned, citing health reasons. In a letter written to President Draupadi Murmu, Dhankar said that to prioritize healthcare and abide by medical advice, he has resigned as the Vice President of India, effective immediately. At the end of an exceptional National Industry Council, Trade Minister Marc Ferracci said that France is demanding greater firmness from EU in its tariff negotiations with the Trump administration, which is threatening to impose 30% customs surcharges. He said that Trump's tariffs could be mortal for some French industries.
Tariffs at the level announced by the US administration, 30%, would have absolutely dramatic consequences
for the entire value chain, which is highly integrated. Some industry have warned us of a mortal risk. I use the term that was used if the 30% custom duties were to be applied. Faced with all these, Europe's position must be one of negotiation, but also one of firmness.
On to weather updates now. In India, the northern state of Uttarakhand is facing incessant rains affecting daily life in Dehradun city. India Meteorological Department has issued an orange alert for the region on Tuesday, and a yellow alert has been declared for Nainital, Bageshwar and Pithoragarh, as heavy rain and thunderstorms are expected in these areas. In Southeast Asia, tropical storm Wifa weakened after making landfall in northern Vietnam on Tuesday, with authorities on alert due to heavy rains. Meanwhile, South Korea's President Lee Jae-myung declared 6 districts as special disaster zones on Tuesday after days of torrential rains. In China, extreme rainfall has swept through several regions, causing urban flooding and power outages in villages and submerging farmlands. Southern regions, including coastal Fujian province, were inundated by heavy rain following Typhoon Wifa. In the Philippines, torrential rains formed an enhanced monsoon, triggered flooding on Tuesday. Residents had to wade through waist and chest-deep floodwater after overnight rain. Meanwhile, scorching heat gripped the wider Balkan region on Tuesday, fueling wildfires in Bulgaria and Albania. In Greece, the Acropolis was closed for 5 hours on Tuesday as a heat wave gripped Athens for a third time this summer. On to sports news now. First updates from cricket. In another blow for India, fast bowler Akashdeep has been ruled out of the 4th test against England in Manchester starting on Wednesday. Skipper Shubman Gill confirmed that Akashdeep will miss the match due to a groin niggle. The pacer adds to the injury list for the visitors ahead of a must-win clash. All-rounder Nitish Kumar Reddy has been ruled out of the series, while Arshdeep Singh will also miss the test. The bowler had played a key role in India's win in Edgbaston, picking up a match haul of 10 wickets. Further, India captain Shubman Gill accused England of ignoring the spirit of the game after the host's time-wasting tactics in the 3rd test at Lord's, which sparked an angry flare-up between the teams. The tourists ought to have been able to bowl 2 overs late in the 3rd day's play of the 3rd test. Crawley ensured that there were only 6 deliveries from Jasprit Bumrah before stumps by twice withdrawing from his stance and then calling for the physio after the 5th ball appeared to make only minimal contact with his glove. Defending champions England will hope to live up to their billing as favourites when they face Italy in the semi-finals of the Women's Euro in Geneva on Tuesday. England are in the 6th consecutive semi-final between Women's Euros and World Cups, and it would be a shock if they slipped up against Italy. In the quarter-final, they defeated Sweden in a penalty shootout after coming from 2 goals down. Italy got the better of Norway in the quarter-finals, with veteran Cristina Girelli scoring twice, including a last-minute winner. Now they are in the semis of a major tournament for the first time since the 1997 Euros. India's HS Pranoy saved 5 match points to script a sensational win in the first round of the China Open in Changzhou on Tuesday. Pranoy fought back from a game down and held his nerve in the decider to beat Koki Watanabe of Japan 8-21, 21-16, 23-21. After dropping the opening game, the World Championships bronze medalist Pranoy rallied in the second to take the match into a decider. Pranoy defended 5 match points to script a remarkable comeback. However, India's top men's shuttler Lakshya Sen suffered an early exit against Li Shifeng of China. He squandered a 1-game advantage to suffer a 14-21, 24-22, 21-11 loss in the opening round. So that's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live, and you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.